young. Well,
We are alive. Mhm. I mean, that was at least easier to laugh at.
I just realised I've been muted. Oh well, doesn't matter. Let me just say that again. Incredibly professional of me. We just watched episode 8, the finale of Doctor Who, and it's been really boring. That was we'll just get through it. So we'll just go through it like we did the other one. So it starts with the Sutek come back and the acolytes being there, and then they try to shoot one of them. The unit people try to shoot the one, and obviously nothing works, and they send out like a wave of dust. Imagine like the Mummy, and like everyone dies, and as everyone is dying, like everyone, like all the main characters, like
basically the entire universe dies.
So basically everyone but the Doctor, Ruby, and Mel get turned to dust. So when they showed the unit people and Kate Bishop dying, we were like, oh, Stewart, Kate Bishop, Kate Stewart. I fucking my mind's gone. Kate Stewart. Different thing. Kate Stewart. And then we were like, oh well. So Mayo was like, oh, is that how it ends? And then I was like, right, if they show Ruby's mom dying, they're gonna undo all this. So they show Ruby's mom dying. I'm like, oh, so they're gonna undo all this. Okay, so that's like the attention of the show immediately like dropped, and then obviously it's even more undercut when very soon we see that the universe has basically been turned to death. So you're like, right, so they have to undo this, or there's no universe. So that's so they're gonna do it. So that's not really exciting. That's just like, I mean, again, I want to point out what I said when we watched it. Like, I know it's not like it's good or bad. It's just like you have to have a really compelling story for when we know the ending to be interested.
Yeah.
Like tick all the boxes and it's done.
Yeah, but let's just go with it in the order. So the Doctor and Mel are escaping the tower while Ruby is in the memory chamber thing. So she's doing that thing. And the Doctor and Mel managed to outdrive the sandstorm when no one else can get away somehow. So that happened, which was just like stupid, like regular stupid. You're just like, right, that's dumb. And then they get to unit headquarters, which was like another epicenter of dust. So I don't know how the fuck they got into their like level 10, because they said it was like 10 floors down from the top of the skyscraper. So that means it's still near the top of the building, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how they got there. Like, did they hit the lift? Did they just run out? I don't fucking know. And then they go into the room where Ruby's having her moment where she's seen her mom. And then the Doctor, knowing that everyone's dying around them, random soldier girl that's with Ruby, he just goes, can you step outside please and die? That'd be great. We're busy in here. Thank you. Goodbye. And then which I don't think
to stay with them.
which we didn't pick up on, but like, why wouldn't the Doctor say stay with me to stay safe? You know what I mean? That's totally something the Doctor would do. Like, don't go outside and fucking die. Stay here. Even if she did die in that scene, you can have Sutek kill her, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? It's
because have Sutek going to kill the Doctor, and the security guard like jumps in front.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Protect the Doctor,
that could be a thing. It's fine. Yeah. So then we find out that like the TARDIS is getting like the memory TARDIS is getting more and more what do you call it, like more solid,
visible,
and all that. Yeah. And Ruby's having a snow thing, and then Sutek appears because him and his acolyte have piloted the TARDIS there, and then we find out what's happened is, back in the old episode where the Doctor sent Sutek like forward in time to his own death, it turns out that he bonded with the TARDIS, and since then, whenever the Doctor's landed, he's used it as like a point to sort of grow in strength. I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. That's fine, whatever. And then the Doctor's just like, why haven't you killed me? And then he's like, Sutek's going, me. And then he just goes like, why wouldn't? Oh, you have something. Oh wait, it must be something to do with Ruby somehow. let's go into the other TARDIS, because memory is time and time is memory, so that TARDIS must kind of exist, I guess, sort of. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, right? Like, I can accept it. I don't really. It doesn't make me go, oh, that makes sense. But I'm like, yeah, it's fine, whatever, kind of thing. You know, it's right. And then, but the thing is that Sutek wants this answer about Ruby's mum, which is what we find out, you know, later is definitely what he wants. You could at this point, they're still like, it's still quote unquote speculation, and yet he goes to grab the doctor but misses, which was weird.
Yeah.
Even though it was like
death,
pretty close in
misses.
front of him.
Yeah, and then they go into this TARDIS, and it's like, what do they call it? Like a memory.
Wait,
TARDIS?
hold on.
Yeah, it's a memory
Hold on, 'cause we
TARDIS from
saw
all
fur-
the
we saw
shorts that we've
further-
had this year.
We see later on the episode though that he can just stop the doctor with his that power.
Well, I guess he doesn't want to stop him because he wants them to
Mm-hmm.
work out who Ruby's mum is, like that, I guess. But then why?
Then why did he try to grab him?
That's what I'm getting at. That's the bit that I'm like, why would he grab? Is he just trying to be like, aha, you didn't see that coming now, did you? Oh my god, that's such. Anyway, what was I? God, this episode. So they go inside this memory TARDIS, and it's like there's like a little bit from most like TARDIS versions, you know. So there's from previous Doctors, like we see, the seventh. No, we see the Sixth Doctor's coat and stuff like that, because Mel goes, "Oh yes, this ridiculously garish jacket that he wore and stuff like that," you know. And they leave, and then the Doctor has a moment where he rees into space, because remember, when you're in space, no one can hear you re, because he's like, "I thought it was fun, but it'd end up killing the universe," and obviously that means nothing, because when the episode ends and he goes back to traveling, he's going to carry on doing it. So what the fuck the point of that was, I have no idea. And then they're not sure what to do, so then it does like a cut to a random point in time where the Doctor goes to this woman and gets a spoon from her. I swear to Christ, it's really as boring as that. They have a scene where he goes, "I need metal. Metal is precious. Nothing is precious," and it's like that's not true, because if there's scarcity of anything, it's precious. But sure.
Like also like if nothing's precious anymore, then why are you doing anything? Why do you keep going?
No,
Like you don't hold your life hold your life precious, the life of Ruby precious. Like yeah.
it's just weird. And then he gets a spoon, and then the woman dies, and then
That was a funny thing. Everyone is dead except this random woman somehow.
well, so
We just got here.
no, Red,
We just found her.
no, they explain it. So how it is that the death wave kills people, but outside of the epicenter, like, you know, outside of those time zones, it's a bit different somehow. I don't get it. So the death wave goes through the bloodline, and sometimes when it's really bored or fucking whatever, it goes up. So if the child died, then the mother might die later.
And your memory starts to go before you die.
You know, you said they explained it, but I don't think they. After hearing that, I don't think they did.
No,
Yeah,
Also, she says,
Lion,
she says, she's
you
talking
weren't
to the doctor.
listening enough. So what happens
He's
is,
telling the doctor. She's telling the doctor. She says,
Just there to give him a spoon. That was the whole thing.
They say the
Exactly.
memory starts to go like when you're gonna die. Something about, you know, the memory starts to go like when you're gonna die, and then the wave goes up, you know, from child to daughter. I was like, how do you know this?
because shut up. And then
How is this?
Nonsense again. That's why.
because death wave, waves of
My
death.
favorite genre.
Because writing. That's why.
Because spoon.
Yeah, spoon. How else would they
See-
get the fucking spoon?
But
It's
see,
not like
if
spoons are...
Sutek, if Sutek
Hold
was
up.
one of his angel of death, What?
On Earth, the architecture is still standing. Everyone is dead, but it's not like all the buildings were to shit.
Except for when
Yeah,
they
later
get-
on they go to a place and it's like there's still stuff there.
No, that
Yeah.
no, that was
There
later.
would be spoons.
No, that was later earlier.
That makes
What?
sense.
Yeah. Did
Exactly.
did none of those doors have handles?
No.
They were
You see, when he sonicked the wooden door open, he was doing it on the wood.
So they have a spoon. So he breaks he breaks the spoon in half and he jams it into a fucking TV they have, and he goes, "Aha, we need something that's not a memory. This is a real spoon or something." And then he's looking at
USB spoon,
and it's not doing anything. And
Isn't the screwdriver made of metal?
yes, it is. Be quiet. And then
That means the TARDIS isn't real. It means nothing on the TARDIS is real.
exactly.
So
Sure.
how are they able to travel?
Did anything happen?
Exactly right.
Shami, you, look. I'm sure the more we talk about it, the more sense it'll make. It'll make sense later. Be quiet. And then
You just think it makes sense, and it'll make sense. That's what Chris Stuckman says.
so
Just consume product.
and be excited for the
it's
next part.
it's amazing.
Because next
yeah.
episode.
So and then while they're doing this, Mel's having like a break where she's like forgetting stuff, because before people get killed by the death wave, they start forgetting things or something. I don't know.
His old age.
Yeah, because death.
Reference to old age.
So so while the Doctor and Ruby are messing around with a imaginary TV and a spoon, they start seeing, like, they go, "Oh, what are we looking for? We're trying to find stuff that's relevant. Wait, let's reference 73 yards. The Doctor says we're protected by this TARDIS because we have a force field of," and then she says 73 yards, and he goes, "How would you know that?" And it's like, I don't know. Oh my god, 73
Read it
yards
away. We watched the episode.
was the name of that episode, and that's got and then we were there going. And then, like, I swear to Christ, we all went, "Oh, well, at least this will explain that episode, so it won't have been a complete waste of time." Well, lucky for us, it didn't. So, it was a complete waste of time still. And then, they referenced it, and that's apparently enough, I guess. And then,
Yeah, it wasn't a waste of time. We said it once.
but then they see Jack Gwillem, whatever the fuck he's called, the most dangerous Prime Minister in history, and then we're like, of course, the Doctor needs those nukes he was going to buy from Pakistan to beat Sutek, of course.
Yeah, those have metal.
Which actually would have made more sense than what actually happens.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more I can explain without just going
If he
mad.
had something sharp, if he had something sharp, surely he could just, get a shaving off one of the computer consoles, and that would be metal.
No, because it's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not real, Mail. Keep up.
Only the spoon is real.
Okay. But
It's
there
the
is
opposite
no
of the
spoon.
Matrix.
There is no TARDIS, only spoon. And then
Fucking stupid.
And then they find out that the reason that Ruby is getting these messages to find out who her mum is, the Doctor says, "Oh, of course, that must be why Sutek's keeping us alive, because he couldn't see Ruby's mum." And then he's like, "What the fuck is this? This is something creepy, so I need to know the answer." And then I'm like, "Oh, okay. I can kind of buy that. I hope that the explanation is really interesting. So obviously you know where this is going." And then they find out that when Welshman was in charge, it was mandatory for people to have like their DNA on record because authoritarian, I guess, whatever.
Political commentary, I guess.
Yeah.
Somehow, a little bit.
And then so then they want to go to that time period to get the things. They're like, "Oh, if your mom was around then her thing would be on record, and therefore if we put your DNA in, it would be a match." And it's like, okay, I guess, assuming that your electricity and your Wi-Fi works when everyone is dead, but sure, why not? But apparently it does, so just whatever. And then so they go there, and the Doctor, more or less, the Doctor works out Mel is like not Mel kind of thing. So he sends her away while they're doing the thing, but like in a way that I guess is subtle. You know what I mean? Whatever. We knew what was happening, but it's fine. He says, "Can you wait outside? We don't know if they're gonna come and get us," which is fine. But like I said, in this entire building, there is no metal apparently, even though it's a structure that's standing. Christ. And then they do the thing. They put it in. The telly is like not working for some reason. Like it's flickering and all. And I don't, and it's trying to build up the tension. And then as Ruby finds out, she goes, "I got it." Picks up the imaginary TV with the answer because apparently that's what they used. And then they turn around, and then Mel's there, and the Doctor's there, just like, I love you, baby. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. And then, so, Sutek, Mel brings them back to Sutek, and they teleport back to the now time.
Kurva.
Which I didn't know what they could do, but that happened because they do a thing where Sutek goes, bring them to me, and then one of his acolytes is like, they show like inside of the TARDIS, you're like, oh, they're getting their person to get the TARDIS to bring them there. And then they just teleport there. So,
Yep. That happened.
I don't.
Very good.
So fine.
Beautiful.
And then by the way, half an hour has gone by at this point, I think. So I was I don't know what the fuck was going on. And then God, it's so boring. And then
Yeah, it seemed to be going by very quickly and yet also dragging.
yeah, I'm gonna be honest, right?
I mean, your description doesn't have anything in it because nothing happened.
Well, I'm gonna say
Like
that
they didn't know how to finish the episode,
The
and they
issue
just
is-
put something together.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it wasn't. I wasn't. It tells you, it doesn't feel like badly paced, if that makes sense. Because I honestly, it went by way faster than I thought. It's just nothing happens. So nothing happens quickly.
There was no continuity. Things just happened with no regards.
So
It's
it's-
very well paced. Nothing.
So
Yeah.
in fairness, that is like 73 yards. So there is that. That episode raced by
Main
as well.
story
and
was
nothing
fast paced
happened.
enough, but then
not
it just
as
lingered
bad as
after the main events happened.
Yeah, so where are we now? So the Doctor and Ruby are there with the
Teleported.
imaginary TV, that has the answer, and then the the shooter goes, "Give me the answer," because he wants the answer. You know, as you do. It's what he wants to do. You know, and then the Doctor goes, "I will." And then I don't know why he does this. I guess it's so that he's not going near Sutek, but he wouldn't need to be near him anyway, so I don't get it. And then he goes, Sutek, I will worship you, don't blah blah. And then Sutek makes him go green, and he falls to the floor, and he just goes, "Be quiet, Time Lord, you're cringe," or something. And then Ruby steps forward and he goes, "No, I'll tell you if you let him go." And I guess it's like the ruse of him being like, "Ruby, no, don't tell him." And then she just goes, "Here is the answer." And Sutek's like, yes, my answer. And then she drops the imaginary TV, and it imaginarily breaks into imaginary more pieces, and the answer that is imaginary goes away. And then she goes, "And now you're the great god of death. I'm gonna put a fucking like lead on you." So they clip like a tie to him. Because his collar is actually like a real collar that like he can't stop her doing. And then he has his
he can't just make it disappear.
yeah, I don't. So the acolytes, like they showed them blowing dust earlier at like faster than like Mach speed, but yet they just like reach their arm out forward and walk slowly towards Ruby and the Doctor. Oh my god, it's so cringe. And then
Yeah, the dust the first time kills everyone, and they do the dust the second time, and it does nothing.
well, they're not using the dust at this point. They just reach forward and walk slowly. And then, by the way, I apologize. I missed a step. Earlier on, the Doctor picked up an imaginary whistle from the imaginary TARDIS. That's it. And then the Doctor blows the imaginary whistle, and then the real TARDIS starts, like, doing stuff. I didn't know it would do this, but it fires a laser beam at one of the acolytes, and then flies across the room.
Yeah.
I don't...
That did happen. That's true.
Like...
They now the TARDIS. Happy day.
Yeah, we all saw what you saw, Baller.
It really is just like
Yep.
you explain it and have to pause. I'm like, and I'm waiting for you guys to go, "No way, so that didn't happen. Don't be silly. You imagine that. What happened was this thing that made sense." But nobody's
Yeah,
interrupting me.
Yep.
I so want to say that, but I can't.
But nobody's interrupting me.
It's like we're having a
But Mama
collective
didn't embrace
nightmare.
a lie.
So the Doctor does this thing, and he goes, I'm back," and they get in the TARDIS. So they clip with a literal. It's just like a clip, like like a stretchy clip that you'd use to like tie stuff to your car, kind of thing. They use that, and they tie Sutek to the TARDIS with that, and then they fly into the time vortex with Sutek going around.
Yep. They tie a god to the TARDIS using the bungee cord.
The bungee cord, that's the word. Thank you. I would like to say that it's like we're being hyperbolic for a like comedic effect, but we are incredibly bored because we are not like joking at all.
Yeah,
and
that's a sentence that I said that actually happened.
Yeah, and so they start flying through the time vortex, and the Doctor goes like, "How do you bring death to how do you stop death? I'll bring death to death and bring life." And I'm just like, you know what? Fine. That's like the only thing so far which I'm like, if only they'd got here in a way that made any kind of sense. But the idea of like Sutekh like killing his own like like death wave or something, I'm like, yeah, that's something that I can buy. If only we got here in any kind of sense. I was gonna say in any kind of logical sense, but just any sense would have been nice, even if it was iffy.
The Doctor keeps hammering home the point,
that doesn't exist.
Death and death and life and life.
Yeah, he said,
yeah.
He says it about like 12 times, and I feel it's as if to convince the audience that this makes sense. And it's like, yeah, it's like gaslighting. You're like, yes, it does make sense, audience.
Yeah. The visuals make sense. Sutekh ripping open the time vortex is good. Trust me.
Yeah. If it doesn't make sense, you're not listening. So we're going to keep saying it, just to make sure you're listening and you get it. It makes sense. Trust us.
And then so while that's and Sutek's like reeing in the thing, the Doctor makes this big speech and says, "You have won, Sutekh, because I feel I'm better than you. Because what is the opposite of death? Well, it's life, and I bring life, but I have to kill you." And you're like, who the fuck hasn't watched Doctor Who and knows that the Doctor quite often kills people that, like the Doctor's not a pacifist. The Doctor doesn't... I don't understand this thing. People seem to misunderstand the idea of the Doctor, like, actively, like, trying to kill people, and then the Doctor killing people out of... It's such a letdown of a final. Yes, that is our sentiment. We were incredibly bored by it.
And how many times have we heard the fury of the Time Lord? It exists with reason.
Yeah,
it was let down.
But this is what I mean. Like the Doctor has been like the Doctor. Like again, this is the misunderstanding that Chibnall have. Like the Doctor doesn't like guns. The Doctor doesn't like guns because the Doctor doesn't like something that's only designed basically is to kill people. But it's like the Doctor has has held a gun before and even used it. But the Doctor hasn't gone out to like shoot people with the gun. He prefers the non-violent approach. What's the joke that the Tom Baker's Doctor that I love? It just goes, if you don't have any weapons, the other people aren't very likely to kill you. And then he goes, really? He goes, well, it works all the time, 9 times out of 10. And that's not like the quote, but that is kind, that's basically what he says. But it's like it works. He basically says if you don't show any harm, they're not likely to kill you, and it works most of the time. Like even the Doctor knows that it's not. But like, yeah, the Doctor doesn't want to kill people, but the Doctor will kill people. That's like a very core trait from like the first Doctor. The Doctor will never revel in death of his enemies or whatever, but he knows very well that sometimes killing is the only answer. So this whole thing about, I understand even if Ncuti's like incarnation was like even more unhappy with others about killing them, but like this whole thing of like, you have made me like you, and it's like, what? I don't understand. It's so silly. I'm just trying to think now. Actually, at this series, has he made a point for this Doctor not to kill somebody? Maybe he has.
I think so.
We had the goblins.
Now,
and they just...
now you gotta get to the.
No, I'm trying to think now.
You gotta get to the best part.
Well, he did murder the Goblin King. Did he know he did that?
Oh yes, no,
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, he absolutely did. He fucking impaled him with a church. Yes. So that's something.
Yes.
So that's
With a
bollocks.
church.
Okay, cool. Because we only need one example to prove it's bollocks, right? Don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He didn't cry over that. So.
no. So there we go then. Jesus Christ. Right, there we go then. I was gonna say at least it's consistent with this series, but it's not. So there we go. And then Sutek's like, no, stop it. And the Doctor goes, nah. He closes the doors and the bungee cord snaps.
The bungee cord that was supposed to be like the gloves, so it would have been set to like being really strong, so they could pull Sutekh.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, closing the doors causes the rope to snap, making the doors stronger than the rope that's strong enough.
And then and then also Sutek being in the time vortex kills him. Question like why? I don't understand why that kills him. I mean, his
Yeah,
thing.
I got to ask. Earlier on, when the TARDIS was dragging him through the vortex and he was opening up like slits into the living world, did that actually damage him? Did we see that, or
No, I think that was.
What?
I think
No.
that him I think when he was doing that was meant to be him like bringing death to his death. I think that was what that was.
Okay.
So, but I don't understand why he died. I know this episode is terrible, so it's not like. By the way, we're like 45 minutes in at this point. By the way, and then and then
You wouldn't think so, how much we actually talked, but yeah, well, pretty much.
Bella, yes. Sutek being on the TARDIS the whole time as well. How do you explain him not being burnt to death in Journey's End or 11th Hour?
well, this is what I mean. I was gonna say he's been in like the vortex like this whole time, and the TARDIS has been. And yeah, it does. I don't understand. Right? Why is he dead? Why wasn't he just like lost to time or something? And him being like, well, without a time machine, you can't like come into reality anymore. You are like lost in the time vortex. So then that would still be a thing because it basically is like a more or less a death sentence, but then that would still at least leave room for if somebody wanted to bring him back in the future. You know what I mean? Because Sutek's a cool idea. This episode, this episode definitely did Sutek like dirty. Like it's absolutely terrible. But somebody could make a cool story with Sutek.
Which episode is Journey's End? Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat.
This podcast has good energy.
I mean, we've kind of been broken by by this.
Good, gives good energy.
confused and apathetic at the same time? Is a weird experience.
Yeah, but yeah,
So-
this isn't what this guy was saying, by the way. But just like, remember when the Daleks like turned off the TARDIS? Was Sutek like just like put to sleep during that episode in that finale when the
Yeah.
like was he just like, oh man, they've like, I have to go to sleep now. That's
Aw.
that's not nice. Yeah, damn it.
Yeah. And you think about all the times Sutek could have taken over before.
Mm-hmm.
But now, but he
some
needed
reason
he needed
it's
to know
now.
the answer of like Ruby Sunday's mother, and we'll get to that because that's the
He
exciting.
didn't know
bit.
about Ruby until
Wait, do you remember when the TARDIS exploded and was going to like destroy the universe? Was Sudik like shit?
Yeah,
He's basically on a bomb.
He's like starting like hyperventilating. He's like, Doctor, you better sort this out. And then when it blows, he'll be like,
Well, Goodyear took over when House took over the TARDIS outside the universe.
oh yeah, fucking yeah, the Doctor's wife one. Yeah, was he just there, just like, I want to see how this plays out. This would be funny.
Yeah.
I know this kind of wrecks my plan, but let's see.
But lol.
sitting back with a bucket of popcorn watching.
He's like, this guy's pretty funny. While he's watching like.
That guy
This
awful.
guy's got my vote.
Oh my Christ. So yeah, Sutek dies apparently. I don't fucking know.
And then,
And then-
they're all alive.
Yeah,
Everyone's
and then
alive,
everyone's alive, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm glad we're not all dead." And then all of us were like, Pikachu face, like, "Wait, everyone's alive at the end of the episode after they all died? Who'd have
Who'da
fucking thunk?"
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then the weird thing, the weird thing is Cherry, the grandmother, who was being creeped out and weirded out by the old lady in her apartment.
Mm.
But when they come back, they're like hugging each other. It's like, yay, yay. And the old lady is like,
Yeah.
oh, I knew he would do it. And Cherry completely forgets.
That like the previous
why
like
did-
about
why
20
just
minutes
freak out?
ago in her time, she was just like, "We'd all like a lot of things that we won't get, and a storm is coming. Oh, our
And
story's
do
ending."
you believe in prayer?
It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I hope I explain why she's being creepy.
Oh, it's I don't know what to say. It's so weird. And then we cut to unit, and then everyone's alive. I guess it's fine. And
And then we destroy.
And then-
any
and then they
setup
do the
that
thing.
happened in the season.
well, then we do the actual Ruby Sunday DNA test with. I don't know how the fuck they did this because they couldn't do it before, but they can do it now.
Because it's not 2046.
Yeah, and I'm surely they haven't got
But
the imaginary TV
the gang's
anymore.
hanging out. Did they teleport the gang to 2046 and it's like, every boy, computer?
Maybe.
Get the DNA sample, come back.
Yes, sure, why not? I guess.
Yeah, the answer's sure.
But guys, I'm gonna be honest, right? You know, like finding out who Ruby Sunday's mum is and how it's got to do with like the Pantheon and all that. Like, it'll all be worth it to handwave like how they got that at this point. You know, it's fine. So they
Why
find.
Sutek can't see?
Yeah. So they find out that Ruby Sunday's mum is just like a random person that got pregnant when she was a teenager, which is like,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna be like I said this as an analogy, like he was less vitriolic about it, but it really feels like the Ryan Johnson thing of like this is your fault for thinking this thing I set up would be interesting.
Yeah, it very much is. What's the answer is mystery, and the answer is nothing. And
And-
isn't that
yeah.
exciting?
And
So T Dog, when you say it should have been Rose, do you mean Donna's Rose or Rose Tyler?
No, not Donna's room.
Maybe season 2. How the hell did this happen?
using Sutek as a suicide bomber to shield the TARDIS to blow up the Pandora.
That's
Nice.
fantastic.
I mean,
Very good.
he is an Egyptian god, right? Anyway, so,
Oh yeah, when they said
Tyler.
when Ruby asked, was all that about the Egyptian stuff, and he says cultural appropriation. I was just like, what?
oh yeah, what a
Yeah.
pointless throwaway. Yeah, so
Kringe.
I mean, his thing. If it was Rose Tyler, was like, I don't think it would have really answered anything, but at least that would have been an answer. That would have been like
Yeah, something.
relevant to something. I agree. Like that would have been something that would have been
Yeah,
for us
but
to go.
it's
"Oh, okay."
really funny that her mother delivered her to the church in that weird ass cloak.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
made
Why
her
was
look
she
like-
fucking wearing like a fucking Jedi outfit?
I mean, she was a 15-year-old girl. It's like, I'm going to buy a cloak while I do this.
plays a lot of D&D.
Well-
It's like I've got my journeyman's travel cloak for when I
Yeah.
go to the inns. So
Yeah, the
I think the biggest question that the audience really wants to know is, do we get to know what the snow means?
well, no, because we find out. So here's the thing, right? So they explain it all, Mayo. Don't you worry. So the reason of the snow thing is the fact that it's just a strong point in history that it was like bleeding through, and it's like I'm like, okay, I can buy that, because if Ruby's mum is someone really important, then obviously that's why that would happen. You know, it's fair enough. And then we find out that her mum was just some random person that got on it, and then you're like, well, that one does that. And then on the day you're like, oh, what was all this stuff? How could Sutek not see her? Ah, well, because all of us, like all four of us in this room, thought that she was important. That made her important, so Sutek couldn't see her. And you're like, that's
All of
that's
That's
not an
the world's
not the
answer.
answer.
time
That's
they
not an
told
answer.
that Ruby's
Wait, here's the thing. They're doing a Scarlet King from the SCP Foundation, but like the Scarlet King is literally a creature that is a concept. It's like he's
Nice
literally a
yeah.
concept, so he thinks through concepts. Sutek isn't literally a creature of concept. He's a thing. We saw him. He knows what right and left is. He knew what TV was. The Scarlet King would know what TV is.
Yeah, guys, Max has pointed out we're all part of the Federation, so we need to stop.
That's what I was going to say.
We need to ban him from the server.
She cheated on Mickey and dumped the kid not to get caught out. They met the Doctor because she was trapped in a parallel Earth. That's why she couldn't find her. Lol.
This is how you use the writer.
Oh my god, that's great. See, here's the thing. That would have at least been funny, and I would have been like, "Oh, at least it was a joke." That would have been great. Oh my goodness. So, and then you're like, "Oh," then they explain that, so it makes no sense. But let's just run with it. So then Mel just goes, "Doctor, why was she pointing at you?" Ah, well, you see, she wasn't pointing at me. She was pointing at the sign of the road, Ruby Road, and she was naming her child for nobody to see that nobody would have got. It makes sense.
Good thing it was like something relatively normal and
guys,
not something like minimum bleeds.
That's why her name was High Street. Sorry, I mean
Max.
Ruby.
Max, I would say it's better
English
than
road.
73
Main-
feet
Main
because
Street.
I was gonna say, I was just gonna answer yeah.
at least this episode happened.
That's what I was gonna say. So,
In
so
universe.
73 feet, because I like 73 feet down.
Okay.
Yeah, 73 feet down. Like at least 73 yards, right? at least that didn't happen, so it feels like an absolute waste of fucking time. So you really are like cheated. This episode is more just boring than like absolutely cringe as fuck. It's just really really boring, and I mean it is nonsensical, but I don't know how to describe it. This is very subjective. It didn't make me angry. It just made me go, yeah, of course they ruined it. What else was I thinking? Yeah, why not? It's Russell T Davies. Yeah, sure. No wonder this.
Also, just the fact that it's so easy as well, because all of the other Russell C Davies finales, there's always like the Doctor can't handle it, and then the companion swoops in, like playing a long game with the Master or with the Daleks. Donna comes in at the end, and it's all is lost. There's just no stakes in this. As soon as everyone died at the start of the episode, you immediately knew, oh yeah, they're just going to do a thing. They're just going to come back. It's like, there's no point to this episode.
Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you just made a point. Like Mel's kind of done dirty. Yeah, she's just kind of there to be taken over, isn't she? She's not really much. She doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Bless her. I mean, you could say.
I have an answer.
What for?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For T-Dog's question. T-Dog, the answer to your question is why was Mel so submissive? It's because she was a woman. And with that, I unfortunately have to bow out. So good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Goodbye,
So,
token
like
woman.
before you left.
Our token woman has now left. Unfortunately, we are no longer diverse. Anyway, so
I don't know. Go ahead, quick. See your woman.
English people here.
oh yeah, this is now an American free zone. So,
Very good.
right, God. So all of that was just a waste, and then it really was just like, yeah, it really, as an audience, you should feel bad for thinking that this mystery was a mystery. Because it ended up being nothing. And then that's like, just like, you look back on the whole series and you just, what the fuck was any of this? So we've done that now, that's happened, whatever, who cares? So then they find her mum, and they're outside the coffee shop she's at, and then they have this conversation. And then the Doctor goes, maybe we should leave her. She's had this many times to find you, blah, blah, blah. And then Ruby goes, fine. And then the Doctor, instead of just letting her make a choice, the Doctor goes like, Ruby, like, no, kind of thing. And it's like, Doctor, it's the fuck all to do with you. It's about Ruby's, birth parent and stuff like that. It's her choice to make. Fuck off. Like, I don't understand. Is the message here that, like, adopted kids shouldn't, like, look for their mums? Or they should... I'm not even saying either way. Like, surely it's just their choice. Why is the Doctor, like, weighing in at all? I don't. So that's like just we were just thought that was a bit like weird, and then they have the thing where they reunite, and it is kind of nice in fairness, how they, notice each other and hug, and the mum was like, I didn't reach out because I thought you'd hate me, and I'm like, yeah, that's very human. It's just a shame that everything else in this fucking episode made no sense, and that's basically it.
At the end, it's just whatever.
Oh, I tell you what though, I didn't like the fact that because Ruby was saying, "Oh, we're also finding my my biological father, because whatever they can find him, and my real mum." And I don't like this using "real" for biological, because I'm like, that like it feels like a slap in the face to like people that have adopted kids. But whatever, it's Russell Davies is a fucking idiot anyway, so who cares a shit. And then they have the thing of this is when the Doctor and Ruby part ways, because Ruby's like starting to find her own life and her things together, and that's how they part way, and the Doctor's sad, and that's the end of the episode, really. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to say. I don't really know what happened.
I feel that
they double down on the neighbor being creepy, and it's like, are you gonna answer that?
Oh yeah, no, that was the thing. So we were there thinking like, what about the neighbor? And then it cuts to her on the roof, just being like, so the time traveler went away. And I think you were hoping he had a happy ending, but he met a terrible fate. Bye, lol. And that's the end of the episode. And it's not. It's not exciting because you've made the most boring finale in Doctor Who. I'm gonna be fucking honest. I think this has been the least interesting finale in all of like the new Doctor Who, at least.
Even with Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like Jodie Whittaker stuff. They've been absolutely terrible. Some like her finales. But I don't know, I feel like they've made more sense than this.
Yeah. I think that...
Maybe not the Flux. I think that one was probably...
No.
I think the Flux
That'd be too far.
I'm going to say, I think the Flux is the worst. But apart from the Flux, this has been the worst finale.
Congratulations, it's second worst.
Yeah, which with the Chibnall era is still pretty terrible.
Yeah.
It's almost impressive.
So
Regardless of how you may think of them, episodes like The Devil's Cord or Dots and Bubble, is it called?
yeah,
I think those episodes are actually more interesting than the finale, which is ridiculous.
yeah, they are. They're at least like okay episodes of Doctor Who. Like we said, they were like fine.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that like when we talk about it, I can actually talk about like
What
some
happened.
themes I got from Dop and Bubble.
Yeah.
Like I can actually talk about the themes because the episode's decent enough that I can just like think more about that rather than going like, what the fuck's happening?
Well, we've just literally saw this episode right before starting this stream, and I actually remember Dots and Bubble better than just the one we just watched, and that was weeks ago.
It's
Like,
I mean, I liked Rogue more. Like a lot.
Yeah,
like
agreed.
Rogue was at least kind of funny as well. Like there was some stuff in there that I genuinely laughed at. Well, like
the Kylie Minogue thing, and yeah,
like we said it, like it like there was a lot of cringe in that episode, but there was still a lot of fun as well. So it was like I was like, yeah, I had fun. I would watch Rogue again. Like
At least I wasn't bored when the cringe was happening.
yeah. Like it was kind of funny. It
Like
was
cosplayed the world to death is a silly fucking line, but it's not a boring line.
yeah.
yeah,
I like it commits the sin of
it's
the.
different.
It does commit like I think the cardinal sin of like the Jodie Whittaker era. It's like the worst thing you can be is boring, and this really was. So this is not memorable, and they built the entirety of this like series on the finale. So you can't even like if you rewatch this series of Doctor Who, even the episodes that we kind of liked, like the Devil's Cord. Now when they have that thing about Ruby, we're going to be like, this doesn't make any sense because we've watched the final episode. Do you know what I mean? Like when Maestro says like there's a hidden song in her heart, and then she's like, oh, she's scared. Why is she scared? Is she scared just because she can see that that Sutek was there? But it's like, but Sutek was here as well because he's in the TARDIS. And the TARDIS like lands in the future when she's there and talking to them on the piano. I don't understand.
Brain hurt now.
So as a finale, pretty poor. As an episode, pretty bad. As just like an episode of television, regardless of Doctor Who, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I don't know if there's anything else to say. Did anyone have anything they liked about this episode at all?
Last minute from previous episode.
Yeah, the previously on was that was pretty exciting. Yeah,
Yeah, like
I mean the pure visual of Sutek hugging the TARDIS is like that'd be a cool statue.
So
it's a
mention
cool
this when
aesthetic, yes.
mention this when the episode was playing, but did they? I can't remember. Did they say gravity or mavity?
I didn't remember them saying either.
I'm sure they did.
I think I zoned out. But were they trying to make a point there? Because you said it just after I said, like, she said even concepts are dying, and I said, are they going to finally fucking get rid of Mavity? And then you said, did they say gravity?
That's probably where I got that from then.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I would have at least if they had at least got rid of fucking Mavity, I would have at least said this episode accomplished something. It didn't even do that though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know it's so boring. There's
Yeah, and it's a bit of a betrayal for the audience, the fact that Russell T Davies was so good previously, and now it's just what's happened? Where the hell is that writing gone?
Here's the thing, right? Because let's just go with the thing. Because I think Russell T Davies, his politics, I don't like agree with a lot of the shit he says, but that's not like usually when it comes to TV, I don't care. When things are bad, it's usually when they put it in header TV. That's why the Star Beast was fucking terrible, because he ended it with his with political beliefs of women and non-binary are better than men. You're like, oh really? Have you got anything to say? No, that's it. You're like, oh, and I say, oh, is this got to do with the plot? Yes, it will save the day. Oh, how? Because it will. and it won't make any sense, so it just ruins the episode. So like his like political beliefs like get in the way of his writing, and that's when I usually think things go wrong, because you can make a story about any political thing you want. If the story is good, whatever, but if it's not, then it's a thing. And then we had Wild Blue Yonder, and that was fantastic because it was literally just the Doctor Who story. There was no politics.
It was
or
Months of
agenda.
a Day episode, and that was great.
Yeah,
That's what we needed.
And it was great. And he just made a good point. Like, Mel didn't give a shit the Earth was destroyed, but she's like, "My God, the Daleks are dead. What the fuck?" which is true. Yeah, that did happen.
She's like, "Oh, swings and roundabouts, I guess."
Yeah, that would be shocking.
Man, that. Fuck, my brain just went. What the fuck was I talking about?
Wild Blue Yonder, and then we had
yeah, and then
the next one.
But yeah, so my thought was just like, when Rusty Davies can put his politics aside, he can write good stories, and that was kind of what I was getting at for the most part of this series, and it was kind of happening, you know, when his politics were taking a backbone, because even in Dot and Bubble, like, it's not really until right at the end where they think they're clever, and it's just like not, but it's not even, it don't even ruin the episode, you know. But I don't think he read that one anyway. But anyway, I was honestly thinking, oh, maybe we're on the up and up. We had the penultimate episode, and that was just solid. You know, it was a fun setup. But no, this was just really boring, and it just shows that Rusty Davies is just a really boring writer for the most part now. How many out of we've had 9 episodes plus the 360th, so we've had 12 episodes. One of them has been really good, which is Wild Blue Yonder. That's
Agreed.
terrible. I mean, and then you consider what episodes have been okay, and you're like, well, the Giggle was pretty fun, and then we had the Maestro, Dot and Bubble, and then let's say Rogue. So we've had, then that's 4. So let's say 5 out of 12 have been not shit. That's a really bad number.
Yeah,
it makes you
it's just below half.
It's not. You can't even say it was 50-50, and that was my guess. My guess was gonna be 50-50 to be okay.
Yeah, if only you knew.
Because it doesn't even work if you. Well, what if you don't count the 60th? Okay, so that's 3 out of 9. If you don't count the 60th ones. I think it's just Doctor Who's. I'm gonna probably just out of morbid curiosity, I'll be watching the next season, but I'm not being looking forward to it. It'll be one of those when I find out, I'll be like, oh nee, that's why it's happened. But it's that's happening. Oh, we'll watch it. Yeah, that's meme on it. Whatever. But
I don't think it's dumbed down for Americans. I just think.
No, I think it's
Russell
just
T. Davies went for retard.
I think it's just dumb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't blame Disney. I wouldn't blame Americans in general. I think this is just on Russell T. Davies.
I agree. I very much think the showrunner was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You're a Yankee, lol. I'm sorry, but anyway, sorry,
Okay. Why do people watch us?
I don't know. We're talking about Doctor Who, and other people need to see what other people, because we've watched it just after it's come out.
Yeah, we're
they
talking
need
about
to
an
know, but
episode
not
or
enough to
something,
watch.
but it wasn't Doctor Who.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Barely an episode.
I mean, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, this really feels like, because before I was like, Doctor Who can always come back, but I'm like, I don't know.
It could, but someone
Not
would
sure it
need to
will.
help it. Like a writer or someone.
I think it needs to just die a quiet death right now, and then come back in another 10 to 20 years, like it did
Yeah.
before with Christopher Eccleston coming back. Not him coming back. I mean, just like it needs a break.
I'm not even. Here's the thing, right? I don't disagree with you really at all. But it doesn't. It's not like it actually needs a break. It just needs to be right. You need to get some up and coming writer that's into sci-fi. That's it. You know, that's got no agenda. That's likes Doctor Who. That isn't Russell T. Davies. And then you could probably get something okay. because like the actors are definitely trying. Like Ncuti Gatwas seems to be giving it his all, and he can be quite charismatic, but he's got fucking nothing to work
The
with.
acting's good. It's just the story's crap.
Yeah, it's like, what has he's done very little this season. Honestly, you know, the episode, I think the only episodes he feels like he's actually really been doing that much was probably Devil's Cord and Rogue.
Mm-hmm.
Because even like Dot and Bobble I really liked, but in that one he's kind of on the
Barely in
sidelines.
it, yeah.
But I mean, that's not bad. It's just is what it says.
Yeah.
And make you sink Yankee Doodle. No, you won't. I'm too apathetic to do anything. You could say you're going to torture me, and I'll say at least it's more interesting than this finale.
I live in
Oh,
America
stimulus.
and I still won't.
More stimulating, yeah.
Love it.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, my birthday is the 4th of July, so it's my day, not your nation's day. So you know, get over yourselves.
I mean, isn't it nice of Americans that all of them celebrate their birthday?
I know, it's incredible, right? I've never felt so wanted. I'll have to go there one day. Happy 4th of July.
That's an interesting question. When that downfall of Doctor Who began.
Yep. Happy Independence Day, ungrateful
Right.
colonials.
What would you say? What would you call like the downfall? Because I would say like Rusty Davies was pretty solid, like for his first like run, but like you know what I mean to the end of David Tennant. But it's like, so if we just go by like statistics, like the first series of Matt Smith was very solid.
I'd probably feel Bill and Capaldi. It's like Peter Capaldi and the chick who played Bill. I think that was the proper. You could see the downfall of it.
No,
and then
I
it just got worse
disagree.
since
The
then.
Doctor and Bill together were great. I disagree.
Nah.
They had some great. There were some pretty naff episodes, but well, actually, I say that we rewatched it. I think the only ones we didn't like was that fucking the monk one.
Mm-hmm.
The others were all pretty good. The one with the wooden house with the wood lice in it and whatever, that was pretty mediocre. But like, yeah, the Doctor, like, because honestly, like I find the Clara and Peter Capaldi's Doctor were not very interesting together. I think her and Matt Smith were way better.
Mm-hmm.
But so Rusty Davies back in the day was pretty solid. Again though, but it was back in the time where you had to work to make Doctor Who work, because obviously you had to get brought from the dead. So you had to try. Sorry, hang on. Nardal saved it. Nardal is the best character in that series. You are also correct. I'm not disputing that. Nardal is the best.
Matt Lucas just brought it home.
Yeah, he is the best character in that season of Doctor Who. You are not wrong. He is fucking awesome. I love him in that series. He's great. He's so funny. I love him just telling the Doctor, I guess, I am the only person in the universe that is legally allowed to kick your ass. Fucking love him. What's the line which Bill just goes, "Since when do you become secretly a badass? Ain't no secret about it, baby."
Immediately screams at the first thing that happens.
Yeah, it's really funny. But anyway, so
No.
I think
Yeah.
the Doctor Who first started to go a bit downhill was the second series of Matt Smith, and it wasn't like it was god awful. But what my problem was with Stephen Moffat's show running was I think he was too impatient. So he would have all these through lines for stories, but then he wouldn't really want to spend the time to round them out properly. So he
was a bad finisher.
He would quite often make a 2-parter, a 1-parter, or he would rush the ending. But you would say though, at least they had endings that mostly did make sense, or even if they were a bit contrived, you could at least see that they weren't complete bullshit. Like
Said he brought us Day of the Doctor.
Sorry.
That said, he brought us Day of the Doctor. Moffat.
Is that the 50th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was him.
He said it in a good or a bad way.
Good way.
Okay.
My God, good way.
No, I would agree. I was just it's just you said he brought us that, and I'm like that could be seen as either way. Like he brought us this.
No, I was just like listing that as one of his pros. That was all.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. Overall, I would still say that that Moffat's era was still overall more positive. I just think that's when it went more mixed. So you'd have some fantastic episodes and some pretty bad episodes, but it was still it still lent more good than bad, and I was still at that point still loving to watch Doctor Who. I do genuinely think that it was when Chibnall took over is when Doctor Who like died, because I wasn't alone in this. The amount of people that watched a couple of episodes of that era and was like they're so bored and they didn't carry on watching it. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch Doctor Who again until until we got bored and we were like, let's watch The Flux because it was a 5-part one. So we watched all of it to catch up and we were like, good Christ, what the fuck was this?
So that was the first ever Doctor Who series where usually, because I'm a completist, I have to see everything, and if I miss something, I've got to go back. The Jodie Whittaker era was the first time ever where I missed an episode and I never actually watched it to this date. It's weird.
It's just so boring, and I think that's like I've said before in this stream that we've been doing, like it does the worst sin of
you ruined Smurfs for me. Sorry.
The worst thing you can be is boring, because it like when something is bad, you have something to get angry about or to talk about. But when you're bored, it's like even if you think it's shit, you're like, I'm bored, I don't care about it, and that's kind of what Chibnall era did with Doctor Who. Like I think a lot of people were kind of annoyed at a lot of stuff he did, but for the most part, nobody could sum up the.
Yeah, if you love something or if you hate something, that just still means that you have some kind of care or passion for it. The death of something is apathy.
Yeah, and Doctor Who like nailed like they speed ran that shit. Like even with like the Moffat stuff with people being mixed on Capaldi or whatever and all that stuff, people were talking about it. But the moment like Jodie Whittaker took over, the conversation died.
Yeah,
and it's not Jodie's fault. We've said this before. It's all Chibnall.
Do you also think? I mean, obviously, it's got something to do with it, maybe a small part, but there was no.
Well, you're right. By the way,
I don't know how to word this, but you know how like Matt Smith and David Tennant and that they went around the world, like really kind of done the marketing and all that, and they got all the hype up. Jodie Whittaker never even done many interviews, if at all. She didn't really go to any cons or anything, really. She never done any of that, so there's no hype outside of the show. There was just nothing, and she was even I think she may have been one of these people who are like, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it type of people.
No, she was. She was,
yeah. So it's like a whole kind of mixture of just go F yourself.
Shoot is there as well. And then I tell you what was funny. This isn't really relevant to anything we're talking about now, really, other than it being Doctor Who. But I love that Rusty Davies and Shooty at the start were like, yeah, if we don't really care about the haters. If they want to go, that's fine. We can like we'll get more fans. Cut to 6 episodes later, and then Rusty Davies was like, "Yes, we are disappointed with the numbers of this series, but."
The PR team have to have a rule where, like, hey, anyone working on this, don't tell people to not watch it. They don't. It's a bad idea. It's not implementing that policy.
It's like, guys, just lie to them. Say it will get better.
Yeah. And what was it? The trans.
How can you lie to people? I'm the marketing department. It's my job.
I can't remember her name, but trans in the Devil's Cord said, "Oh yeah, for every I don't know, bigot or straight person, whatever that goes, there'll be 2 trans people that come along."
Yeah.
Where are they now?
Yeah. Numerically, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
So
statistically, they are probably. Actually, never mind.
And the thing is, right? It's I know what you're gonna say, Red. So I
honestly be glad if less than 1% of people are bigots. Very nice.
But like, it's just like it doesn't matter how good.
The fuck did you call me?
How good your representation is if you're like pro whatever. I mean, we're all like pro living your own life and do what you want. But for the love of God, if you make a boring story, nobody's gonna care, and that's what's happened.
Yeah.
That is what happened. And because. Like, I like the Maestro because Maestro was interesting. Like, end of. Like, yeah. I thought they were a fun bad guy, and the idea of the Pantheon and the gods was cool, and that's all I needed. So, it's just they don't seem to understand that it's them being boring or making bad writing that's making people not watch it, because they just cry bigot, and it's like, no, if it's interesting, it's good. Because I remember, like, for like Rogue in this series, right? Rusty Davies said it has changed Doctor Who forever, and I would like Red to explain how it's changed Doctor Who forever for the audience, because he has told us, and I think he makes a solid argument.
Oh yeah, the What episode was it?
Rogue is the
Yeah.
Bridgerton one.
Yes. The massive change that it brought was that it increased the complete amount of episodes that exist
Exactly.
by
So
one.
changed it forever by one episode. Yeah. Because Russell T Davies seems to be under the influence that because the Doctor kissed a bloke, that means it's changed forever. And I'm like, right. So we now have it confirmed that the Doctor that the Doctor is like, the Time Lords can change gender. I have never been against this. It's fine when you have the idea of a regenerating alien race. I'm fine with it. And so I would find it weird if they were only always interested in one gender, because obviously then if they had a partner, then they wouldn't be interested. So I'm like, no, I'm fine with them being like, sexually more, open, if that makes sense. So say if like I would assume that Time Lords would be like naturally bi, I guess. I don't really know why this has come up, but apparently they've made it important. But basically the Doctor kissed a man and Rusty Davies under the influence that's a big deal. And I'm like, no, the Doctor's had companions before that he's like fell for or met people that they've liked. This is not new. Why are you acting like it's a big deal? And then you're like, oh well, the big deal is because they're gay. And I'm like, why is that a big deal?
I've got something to say about that in 2 seconds, but I've got to say, knave of spades, is that supposed to be a pronoun? Bad they. But with the gay kiss and that, it was actually Russell T Davies' same series under Christopher Eccleston that Captain Jack kissed Chris and Billy.
I will say though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's not the first time they had a bisexual character on the series.
No,
it was also while Russell T Davies was showrunning as well. So even then, that's like doubly what the hell are you talking about?
I'm gonna push back a little. I feel what he's going for is that it was more because obviously with Jack it was
romantic.
Well, we on Rogue it was romantic with Jack it was more him just like saying goodbye kind of thing, But I still don't really like the Doctor's had the Doctor and Rose, and then we've had the Doctor and River, and it's like, yeah, it's not a thing. And then the big deal is the gay, and I'm like, but last series we had I know it didn't really end up, but we had Jodie and Yaz, and they kind of, I feel that they very much heavily all but said it, where like implied it seriously, where like the Doctor wasn't even against being in a relationship with Yaz, but they were still kind of like, I shouldn't be in a relationship kind of thing. It was that seemed to be more what they were getting gas, you know what I mean? Because the Doctor said, if I was with anyone, it would be you. And then they were doing the thing that character was more like, I just can't cope with the fact that I know it's all going to end and things like that. Which I mean, everything else in that series was terrible. But what I mean is that as a sentiment isn't a bad idea, because every Doctor has their own outlook on things. But yeah, Russ Davies basically thinks that everything he's doing is way more important than it is.
Just to kind of make note of Wes here, casually cheating on River. Now, is he, because of the whole, I can't remember the name of the planet when he was there for like one night is 25 years, but the Doctor also witnessed River die, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Is that story over, or is it still because of timey-wimey that she could still come back? Would he actually be cheating on her? I'm not sure.
I thought of...
I don't know how it works in Time Lord law.
No, but I kind of... I mean, until it's contradicted, I do kind of feel like it's kind of all but said that she's kind of dead to the at this point, you know what I mean? But... Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they could.
I always headcanon it when you regenerated, it acted like you died, and so like you could get back together if you wanted to, but do you want to?
Well, the Doctor's been with River in a few, but the Doctor had been with River in a few regenerations now, though. Like 3 methods.
Yeah, what I'm saying is headcanon wise, it's like, yeah, they got back together, but like legally through Time Lord law, it could be like, well, they technically died, so you could get remarried or move on, whatever.
Maybe, I don't know. But
I'm just saying, it's kind of headcanon.
Yeah, but like either way, my main thing is just Rusty Davies is acting like he's made these such big and incredible changes. And it's like, look, I have made a gay character. So I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe you've brought the first gay characters on TV, Russell. You're so amazing.
Yeah, it's just like it basically wasn't about the story. He just wanted an episode to have that gay kiss and just happened to make that story around it.
The thing
that's how that felt.
It was fine, because I thought the Doctor and Rogue worked well together. They were quite charismatic.
It was a fine episode, but I think he basically wanted that gay kiss to be the big thing.
Oh no,
as opposed to anything else.
No, totally agree. That's what I mean. He thinks that was a game changer, and it wasn't. It was, to us, it was more just like, oh, that's something that happens. Yeah, they kind of earned it in the episode. It's not like a big deal though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was kind of where I was anyway.
Oh yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, Nave, when I was just saying I thought that was what Whittaker's incarnation of the Doctor was like, talking to Yaz. But that doesn't mean that other Doctors haven't, because obviously the Tennant Zero fell in love with Rose and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think Rusty Davies has lost his talent. He's let his politics get ahead of him, and he just thinks that if it matches what his politics are, and whatever. And his thing, it's one of those things where I personally don't give a shit if I agree with your politics or not. If you make a good story, you know what I mean? I just don't know. I've watched stuff when I've been like, man, if this was real life, I'd be like hating this, but it's a great story. I'm loving it as a story.
Yeah, so Paula, I know that you haven't seen it, but for anyone who has, the series of The Last of Us, there is, without giving any spoilers, there is one episode. There is one gay episode in there, and it was a fantastic episode. Great storyline. It was one of those bottle episodes where it's a whole story in one episode, and like the tears were flowing at the end of it, and it was really nice, wholesome, and it had a great message and all the rest of it. And it is possible to have like a gay, trans, whatever storyline that would actually like entertain you, make you feel feelings, all that stuff. It is possible. The problem we're having is that when the story of the episode or series or whatever is just the fact that, oh, here's the gay scene, here's the trans thing, here's the representation without much to back it up, that's the problem.
Well, Mayor, shall we just say that the one that was really easy? Remember Tortured? Remember Jack and Yanto? That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, they made a romantic story and not a gay story.
That's what I mean. They made a story, not a gay, and it's like, yes, we are interested in a romance story that's good because it's good.
I mean, it was a love story. The fact that they were gay or both male, whatever you want to call it, is inconsequential.
That's what I mean.
It was a great story.
That them being gay isn't the important part. The important part is their chemistry and the characters and how it affects them and their journey. You know what I mean? Like the gay isn't the interesting. It's we have these two great characters that fall in love, and then they reach a tragic end, and it's sad, and you feel something, and we're like, man, that sucks. That was an incredible journey, and it's awful that they didn't have a happy ending. Not, oh, that was great because gay with an H. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And do you remember that Yanto, when he, spoilers, got killed off, there was no, oh yeah, you just kill gays and stuff. There was none of that.
It was just a tragic death because he was a valued human being. Yes.
If that happened today, there'll be all kind of freaking hell being caused through.
Yes, how dare you kill the token gay guy?
Yeah,
it's like, what's happening? What are we switch sides here?
I don't. But I mean, as a thing, what does anyone else think about like a point where Doctor Who started to like fail? I mean, I would say that Chibnall is when it like completely dropped off. But would anyone else have any other points?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, I was kind of seeing some kind of decline in Capaldi in the last season, but yeah, I think the actual point where if you wanted to pinpoint it, it would be as soon as Chibnall started.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, because it's like the woman that fell to Earth was fine, but then you immediately have Ghost Monument, which is so boring, and then Rosa Parks. Oh my god. Space racism.
When it's like, these are the first episodes that you've created the mark of the next Doctor, they need to be memorable, and it was just like, whatever.
But now it's the end, and we'll have to wrap up soon just because it's very late, because it's tomorrow now.
It's not yesterday, it's tomorrow now.
Yeah, it's yesterday for you, but it's tomorrow for real people. And but for now it's today to us all, and God bless us everyone. So
well, another series happened.
I never saw Class, but I've heard that people weren't really that interested in it. I mean, that's why I never continued. But
I saw it was drivel.
As like a total, what would we rank? Well, not like rank as in like numbers, but where would we say like the series as a whole? And let's say, would you count the 60th anniversary in this series? I'm going to say yes, to be fair, because I know it's David Tennant, but like the Pantheon thing was.
Well, if we don't, the score will be lower.
And but also,
I personally would do the David Tennant episodes as its series in its own right. I wouldn't classify it with this one.
But it's like the same writer, and we have the same problems, and well, fine. If we just say the 60th one, we did it last time. But if we say the 60th one, the 60th was mixed. There was some awesome stuff in there, and there was some god awful cringe.
Yeah.
But at least that those 60th anniversary. If somebody said, "Should I watch the 60th?" I would tentatively say yes, but be prepared for episode 1 to be god awful. But like episode 2 is awesome, and episode 3 is fun. But if somebody said like, "Oh, for Doctor Who 2024," and we include the Christmas special, don't we? You know, the Ruby Road kind of thing. What would you say overall now that we had all 9 episodes? And it's like, oh, what would you say? I'd be like, I don't know. It was probably better than Chibnall's era because it wasn't as boring, but that's literally the only praise I can kind of give it. Like, it wasn't as dull.
Yeah, I think it was attempting to tell a story, but didn't quite get there.
Yeah, we had like a lot of setups that were actually kind of interesting with no payoffs.
Yeah.
Because
looking back in the series, it's like it's gonna be worse because like Dadley's you know what.
Yeah, when you think back to things like the Stolen Earth and Doomsday and stuff, they were fantastic endings, and it's like that's what we was expecting because when Sutek was introduced, the cliffhanger last week, that really felt like a Doomsday type of situation. And then we was like, "Oh, okay, that happened."
We've got the dichotomy of man in the chat here, by the way, guys. So we've got the 60th as a 7 out of 10, and then it was a crime against Gallifrey as 2 different comments for the 60th anniversary. I mean, just careful to say, right? I think I said this last time. My like scoring I had for like each episode of the 60th, and take this for what you will. So it was like episode 1 was like a 2 out of 10. Episode 2 was like an 8, and then episode 3 was like a 6. I don't know how else, but that's like my personal like rankings for that. That's not like a.
I'd give the whole season a 5.
I'd say overall, I think that first episode drags it down so much. I think it has like like I think a 5 is the best.
4 or 5ish.
I was gonna say I think a 5 is the best I can give it because I did genuinely love Wild Blue Yonder and like the giggle, but episode 1 is so dog shit.
Yeah, I'll give it a 5 overall.
I'm with Lion. I'm like teetering between a 4 and a 5 overall, yeah. How would we score this one? Hang on, let's go them to like episodes. So it was like Church on Ruby Road. It's not like it didn't make a quote unquote sense, but my god, it was boring. So that's probably like a 4 or 8. You know, for the Christmas special. Like it.
Yeah.
And then
I think the cringe factor would certify 3 or 4, with the singing and stuff like that with the goblins.
And then So then Space Babies. I mean, I don't know because that wasn't like god awful either, but that was kind of cringe. So that's probably like a 4 again. Me,
T-Dog thought he was having a stroke or in a coma at the 60th.
For the first episode, I agree. I don't know about the others, so if I'd go that far, but yeah. I mean, obviously the Mavity thing in episode 2 was fucking cringe, but it ended up not really impacting the plot, so it's kind of whatever. It's just like stupid.
Right.
But Space Babies, I'm torn. Yeah, Church of Road 4 out of 10. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm getting. Space Babies, I'm torn between a 4 and a 3 because that bogey thing. I think I'm gonna go with a 3.
Me too.
I would give it a 3 purely because I hate it when I go to other people's house, other like parents who are having baby talk with their babies in front of you, and it's so cringe. That was that whole episode, and I could barely watch it.
Wild Blue Yonder, you see, was the best since Blink. I don't know if I go that far.
I don't think so, because we've had Midnight.
I mean, here's the thing. I really, really loved it. It's what it has become one of my top episodes of Doctor Who, but it's more like it's become like my top like 10 or 20 kind of thing. Not like it's my favorite episode. But you're not wrong.
I think Wild Blue Yonder tried to be Midnight. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as Midnight in my estimation.
I think I put it on par with Midnight, except for the opening. But then I think we're getting into more like subjective what we liked more, didn't we? Cause
Yeah. No, agreed,
Yeah.
agreed.
So yeah, but anyway, so Space Rebels, we're torn between a 3 and a 4, whatever. What was next?
Devils, was it?
The Devil's Chord. I would happily give that like a 6 out of 10. Like,
Yeah.
I was a bit like they hyped the episode was then going to find the Beatles, and the Beatles were all more or less fucking a waste of time, and only 2 of them ended up saving the day anyway.
That's kind of my problem with it, because if you remember like episodes before where they went like, let's go meet a store, go figure, they're actually part of the episode, you know.
Yeah.
like
I think
Van Gogh and like Shakespeare, they were actually in the episode. You got to know a bit.
I
So
was
when they
just about
came
to
back
say
and
that.
actually helped win the day, it felt more natural.
Yeah,
but this
if-
was
if
like
the
one
Beatles-
scene with 2 of the Beatles, and then they just walk into an empty building and play magical notes. As like they weren't even in the same room. And so it's
Yeah.
really weird that they saved the day when they weren't even in the episode. much.
But I think the stuff that I liked, I'm happy to give it a 6. I wouldn't be surprised if anyone thought it was like a 5 though either. But I don't think it was bad.
Yeah.
What was next? Boom happened. I think that's a 3 out of 10. I keep flitting.
Yeah, I would say 2.
But yeah, like I have flitted between 4 and 2 quite a lot, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna stay at 3. And then we had 73 yards. I that was a 0 out of 10 as far as I'm fucking concerned. That was one of the
That's
worst
one of the
episodes.
episodes.
I mean, that
That's
episode
one of the
didn't happen,
episodes
so we
we-
can just skip it.
I mean, more
Yeah,
or
I
less,
didn't
yeah.
actually see it, and I don't intend to
But
see
I'm-
it. That's
I'm-
how,
I'm
like,
ge-
I
I'm-
know.
I
You
was,
really don't need
the
to.
only way it could be worse if it was like you couldn't describe it as moving pictures. Like
yeah, like nothing about it works. I think I unfortunately have to give it a 1 out of 10 because there is a plot, but God.
Yeah, I
thing
put
is-
0 of this doesn't function as like a thing. It's not a video. I can't play it. That's a 0 out of 10.
Yeah,
to me.
that-
It's
I-
non-functional.
I-
This technically does play, and it technically you can follow along. It's just everything's shite.
See,
So I was like,
T-Dog, I don't blame you, but I feel you giving 73 yards a 2 out of 10 is generous.
Yeah, kind of.
But I think 73 yards tried to be a turn left, but it failed miserably.
Yeah, it's nothing about it makes sense, and it adds insult to injury with the ending being it didn't happen anyway. So lol, get over yourselves, boring, and you're like, right, okay, thanks, great.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
So to be fair, I probably would have given it a 2 out of 10 if they'd explained anything, and it was still just kind of shit. But no, they don't explain anything, and then also you realize your time's wasted. But God, we need to show Max that episode, don't we?
just describing it to him, and he's losing his mind.
Yeah, I'm not being thingy, but for the last stream, there's a chunk of it where we explained the plot of 73 Yards to one of our friends called Max, and he was losing his fucking mind hearing the synopsis. It was great. But
Yeah.
so what's next? Next was Dot and Bubble. That's
Which
like
was-
I'm gonna say that's like a solid 6
quite
out
good.
of 10. 6 out of 10. I'd probably give it.
Yeah, say that. Yeah.
So the one that I didn't see is pretty good.
Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, I'll have to show you that one
It's
day,
not
Red,
fun.
but maybe. But
Yes.
it's not like it's fantastic. It's just solid. It's fine. It's good. That we were saying the stuff that we don't like, but that's more meta stuff after hearing about like Russell T Davies.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
the thing is, I think one of the worst deaths someone could suffer is being eaten alive, and that actually kind of freaked me out a little bit. And it's kind of still disturbing to me thinking back at it now. So I'll give it that for the scare factor.
Yeah, it also looks like eat
Outside of-
very slowly. Was like that's awful. You can eat slowly.
Yeah.
That's worse.
Outside of that, yeah, good. Outside of, I didn't like the way they did it at the end with what's her name, with killing off the guy that was helping her. I thought that was a bit
I'm trying to
shit.
think. So T Dog has given Dot and Bubble a 4 out of 10. I don't. I think it's a bit hard.
I disagree with that. Yeah,
I do. I would say depending on your outlook, I wouldn't be maybe surprised if somebody would give it a 5. I don't think it's below average though, because I think there is a story that that works. Yeah, here's the thing, T-Dog. This is the thing that we thought about as well. That whole thing about
yeah,
the
he
racism.
cries all the time.
That racism at the end, that quote unquote, because when we watched it, we thought, we were like, well, it doesn't. We think it could be taken as many different things, like a classism, fear of the outside, being in your own echo chamber. Because when we first watched it, I thought it was like a class thing, not racism, because of how they were dismissive of Ruby as well.
The only thing I would have to say about that is she completely dismissed the Doctor and gave Ruby a chance. Maybe that was
Well,
foreshadowing.
but-
Yeah,
the
but
end.
if you rewatch the episode, the Doctor comes in and says, you have to listen to me. There's aliens going to eat you and stuff like that whilst he's getting ready. And it's like, that's very off-putting. And as the episode goes on, you realize these people are, you have to be like really fucking like gentle and like try to talk them through them to get them to do anything, because it's just the way they are.
Really,
so the idea of like him being this, like, you know, your life's in danger, you have to do something real quick, and she goes nope, because I don't want that.
To be fair, it's kind of like getting someone to hit the like button, which everyone should do right now.
Shut the
by
fuck
the way,
up, Mayo.
Yeah.
Everyone should dislike this video. It's funny.
It also yeah, but also kind of goes into the sort of theme I have of like it's online where someone goes like, that's stupid, that's stupid, you should to me because I'm right, and then they just block you. So that came to me was like, someone said something you slightly didn't like, block, even if it's important. I block important news because I didn't like it.
Yeah, like
so it's like,
you got more like echo chamber, which actually suits the themes of the episode more, with it being more like a kind of a concentrated Twitter, Facebook kind of hybrid thing in the bubble.
Yeah. I mean, like, even visually, the bubble literally surrounds their head, and they have trouble seeing. So, like, they can't see the real world because of the bubble around their head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was. Sorry, is that he? Because I got that fucking stupid heart thing that's covering it. But he was the only one of color. I agree, but that doesn't necessarily mean racism. I live in a village where everyone here is white. It doesn't mean that we're all racists. It just is what it is. So. And also, like Lion said, when she didn't dismiss Ruby, I didn't get that she didn't dismiss Ruby because Ruby was white. I got it because Ruby was pretending to be tech support. She was like, ugh, fine.
Yeah, she's trying to be tech support and being quite nice and going like, as like, if you could, and I'm sorry if this is inconvenient, but could you please, like, being very nice and trying to be open and basically trying to make it so it's on her to do something, so she feels like she has control. Which is a thing to do to manipulate people.
Oh,
but so it was less like, do what I say, and more like, could you mind doing this? Which makes people more open to do what you want.
And I want to point out, like, just to be clear, like, we're not saying, like, the fact that they're racist does still make sense. We're just saying that that's not the only explanation that could make sense.
Yeah, if you watch that episode and thought maybe it's about racism, it's like, sure, there's no evidence in there to think that, but there's no evidence to think like what we're all thinking. Because, like, honestly, I think a good written thing is like, you can see what the message is, but it's vague enough for you to kind of like fit it around multiple things. It's like, this is what episode does.
I think,
and the fact that they're trying to ruin it by saying no, it's this is stupid.
Yeah, because we're more annoyed in like the meta sense. I think the only thing that we all agreed was fucking ridiculous was when she turned the bobble off and forgot how to walk. Like, we were like, why isn't it just that she's having like a mental breakdown, which I would buy more because she's so used to the dot, but she just suddenly like walked to the left with, I can't walk. It's like, why? It doesn't explain it. And then it conveniently forgets that she can fucking forgot how to walk, like, after like 2 times, because they're like, oh yeah, that get in the way now, let's stop that. That's like the only thing that I thought was stupid, which is still a really stupid thing, and that's still kind of why I feel like a 6 is all I can give it, but I do think that is the only genuine problem with the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mayo, you were going to say...
No, I was just going to read the comments. T-Dog, more of the story is get off your phone, don't text and drive.
I agree. But then Russell T Davies is also like in that echo chamber, so it's very rich of him to be saying that shit, isn't it? But anyway, again, more meta stuff. So that's Dot and Bubble. Next we had Rogue. I'm mixed. I don't know. Fuck.
Now, I said to you, I said this to you, I think either while we were watching it or just after it or something. Oh no, that was it, because we didn't watch it together and we spoke after. And I kind of felt, and I don't get offended easily by this type of stuff, but when it was like cosplaying bad, I want to be the Doctor, that kind of, now that's something to kind of piss off the fan base that you're trying to get to, because they're going to try and cosplay the Doctor. I just didn't like that. It didn't sit well with me.
I think that's more of a you thing, like a you problem though, because I don't think that you should say that you can't have a story about aliens cosplaying and then them being cringe about it just because other people have done it and they do it in a non-cringe way or something. Like, I feel that it was very much these guys being cringe.
Yeah, I doubt he's saying that cosplayers murder each other to take their costumes.
Rogue was a 6 to 8 out of 10. See, here's where I'm mixed, right, about it not being that high, because I had a lot of fun with it. I think that the Doctor and Rogue has a lot of chemistry. I find it really fun. There's a lot of dialogue I loved. I love the bit when he's saying about, when he's showing how his spaceship's cloaked, and then he goes, oh, there's my ship, why isn't yours hidden? He goes, it's behind a tree. I thought that was really funny. I thought him fucking with him using his own, like, you know, more camp soundtrack just to mess with him was a very Doctor Who moment that was funny, and I'm not against that. But there's a couple of things that really wind me up. So why the fuck does he have a scanner on a ship that only says shapeshifter, but then when the Doctor throws a thing, it will then be going more detail? Like, why isn't the deep scan like more of like why would you want to just send someone to the blended dimension without checking? So that was stupid. And secondly,
plus being fused to the floor and then knocking
that's
Ruby out the
what I was
way.
going to get to. Yeah, so they make it very clear that they are molecularly bonded to the floor. So as far as physics are concerned, they are the floor and the Doctor, or the floor and whoever's standing in that triangle are one and the same. So Rogue, Rogue knocks Ruby out the way and takes her place for some reason somehow, and it like that didn't make any fucking sense. I agree. I'm very undecisive either because the stuff I loved and the stuff I didn't. So I feel like I tentatively want to give it a 5, but I feel objectively it's probably a 4.
I'm gonna excuse myself because it's 4 a.m.
Yeah, no worries. But I will have to wrap up soon anyway because I'm in the thing. But night, Red.
Yeah, good night, everyone. And thank you.
But yeah, so I'm mixed as well because there's stuff I did really like about it, but there's stuff that I thought was stupid.
Yeah, I just really liked, regardless of the kiss, I really liked the chemistry between Judy and what's his name who plays
and
Rogue.
Also, as another thing is that I didn't like, they lied was about Ruby. When Ruby got quote unquote taken over, we knew she wouldn't, but basically they show that she's the Owl Lady. And they cut to the outside of the room with Ruby screaming, and then a massive bolt, lightning, zap, zap, zap. That doesn't happen. They show us the whole screen, and there is a tiny crackle of lightning, and there is no scream. So they just lied to us. So that was stupid.
Do you think it was weird that during the series that Ruby almost or did die at least once or twice, and then it wasn't a foreshadowing thing for the end of the series?
I mean, I just thought it was stupid that she quote unquote died twice, and they were both stupid. They were both really badly done.
Yeah.
So that was that. So that's that. And then I think after Rogue, then we had The Legend of Ruby Sunday. We liked that one. I think that's like a good 6 or 7 out of 10 as like a penultimate one. Because if you
it was a good build-up episode.
Yeah, it's a good setup. But this finale, man, a 2.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like I'm angry about it. It's just like nothing works. But it's not as bad. But it is
anticlimactic is under.
It's not as bad as 73 yards though, because at least there is a plot that does follow from one after the other, even if it's really bad. Because 73 yards doesn't happen, and also doesn't really have a full plot because it keeps whiplashing all over the fucking place about what they want to fucking talk about.
Is it as bad as Orphan 55?
What, the finale?
Yeah.
No, probably not.
73
yards was worse than was worse than Orphan 55 though. That was like my criteria about why that one was god awful, because it was worse than Orphan 55. Legend of Ruby Sunday. Yeah, like I said, I would put it as like a 7. So yeah, and that's the build up. It's a really good build up. Like I said, I made sure, which is why I'm probably not angry. I made sure that I was like, I'm not gonna hype myself for the finale because I guarantee he'll cock it up. But I really hope he doesn't, and then he did. So
I feel so apathetic about
that's kind of where I'm at.
About Empire of Death that I can't even rate it. I just can't think of a number because there's not one low enough.
I think the only reason I feel Empire of Death is a 2 out of 10 is because I didn't hate it as much as 73 yards. I think that's literally my only reasoning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably is a 1 out of 10 though as well, to be fair, with how like nonsensical everything is.
My neck does that if I turn too quickly. Yeah,
we're saying why Ruby's... Yeah. Anyway, I think we're gonna have to start wrapping it up there. I think overall, I can't give it a number. All I can say is that it's just very self-evident that this series was pretty poor. We've had okay episodes, because here's the thing: even with The Legend of Ruby Sunday being a pretty great like build-up, you still got to count it as like a whole story, and as a 2-part storyline, it doesn't work.
There was just nothing gluing it together, no proper, real good through line. There was just nothing there. It was just a jumble of episodes. Let's put something together to bring this all back, and that was it as far as I was concerned. Nothing there.
But I guess we're to be continued.
Yeah.
And we'll have to wonder if the poor ratings will make them think any differently for next season. Oh no, wait, they've already fucking filmed it.
Yeah,
Yes.
not
You
greenlit.
have to wait to see if they're allowed to do it.
Yeah, at the filming of this live stream, I believe, I could be wrong, they haven't even greenlit it yet, even though it's been filmed.
This is the thing, right? Though you'd think, I don't know why, but on like a kind of a, I don't know about practical, yeah, on a practical level, right? You think you wouldn't film season 2 until after season 1 finished, because just to accept feedback. But at the same time, that's how like big-headed they are, because they think that they've made a masterpiece, don't they? They think every episode has been great.
Technically, they did Lord of the Rings all at the same time, but that's completely
Well,
different
first of all,
story.
that's,
But
that's an adaptation, and first of all, that's just one storyline anyway. That's not like different.
Right.
Like the Fellowship of the Ring isn't like, and the Two Towers. The Two Towers is a sequel to Fellowship of the Ring, but it's not like the next story. It's the same story.
hmm
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not move. It's the Lord of the Rings is one essentially story split into 3 parts rather than 3 films that like. It's not like Two Towers. It's like, you can't watch Fellowship of the Ring and have a complete storyline. It's an amazing movie, but it's not one story.
Right.
I think that is
Agreed.
that is a bit of a key difference. And also, Lord of the Rings is already a proven success, and it's an adaptation, so I think that's also a difference. And here's the thing, right? Maybe I'd be less bothered if they were proved, but Rusty Davis hadn't proved himself, especially after the 60th anniversary, because we already knew that they were terrible.
No.
I agree.
I think they should see. I think they should see, especially as Disney have also the first Disney product for Doctor Who as well. I think let's just see how the 60th goes. If they don't like all this stuff and the ratings are low, which they were, then that will colour if we need to do any reshoots, if we need to delay things, etc., etc. And nothing. They just went ahead and did the whole thing all in one go.
And then you'd think, well, at the very least, you'd let season 1 ride first and see what people liked and didn't like. But no, they've just done it anyway, and people have already come out and said what they don't like. But hey ho, this has been what it is. I can't believe we got an hour and a half out of one episode.
Yeah, that could quite easily be half that.
But hey ho. I think the most exciting thing that's happened today is I got a new banner that I made when I was bored. So there we go. Look at all the characters. Look at that.
Yes.
Look at that wacky
Look
bunch.
at all the pretty colours.
Look at that wacky bunch. Okay, look at all the avatars that we've wasted time making and thinking, aren't they all awesome? Look at them all. Look at that dollop of mayo in the corner.
Yeah, that's just in the corner alone.
We could
by myself.
crowdfund and buy Bad Wolf.
None.
Probably, unfortunately not. Probably. Look at Lion. Look. You've got a friend on your hat now, Lion.
Yes. Can't get him off. You won't.
No,
Stuck down.
it's his roof now.
Yeah.
Oh dear. No.
Right.
I think it's just thanks for watching, guys. I think we were planning on trying to make this more of a thing of talking about stuff. Hopefully we'll find something interesting to talk about next time.
Yeah, something that has stuff to talk about. We will talk about it.
But
Unfortunately, this didn't.
But I'm enjoying these chats because we do this anyway. But it's nice to have something on the record, isn't it? Sometimes,
Yeah.
And Doctor Who's one. Maybe we could go back and like do this for like the older series of Doctor Who. Like the other Rusty one, and just like do it as like a comparison.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is why the first series was great with Eccleston. Wouldn't that be a nice change just to be like praising everything?
It's also again good to have a record of being able to have a half, decent conversation and intellectual conversation. Probably.
We are all very, very smart here.
Yeah, I've got papers to prove it.
That's right. I can use a phone. I can't use a phone, guys.
Faking it for years.
Oh, well, thanks to you, Doug. Thanks for getting around. So we just there's no like organization here. We just mess around. If you want to, all of these cast of characters are all of us. Shammy also has her own channel called Shamrock Dragon. You'll see that if you go on my main page and scroll to the bottom, most people are there. In fact, I do think I need to add Mayo actually though, because Mayo is the latest colourful character that we've hired to the group. So
Yeah, unbridled Mayo, as it were.
be quiet, Hellmans. And then
Yes.
but anyway, no. well, everyone that's like been watching this and has had fun, thanks for watching. I have very much enjoyed the conversation. I just wish that Doctor Who had been good, because it would have been lovely to have come on and gone, wow, we had at least had a good finale, but hey ho, it was not to be.
At the very least, we've watched it so you don't have to.
I think they did. I think that's the unfortunate thing.
I don't think you can say that if I get sued.
Oh no, we're nostalgic cruddums. No.
Oh, no. Dave the Demon Hunter's gonna get it.
And it's just like, play me off, Johnny, and then we just play, come on, your black and tans for Lion.
Yeah. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah.
Here we describe if we made jokes instead of making them.
we pretend we're funny. Okay, guys, let's get the algorithm ready. Right, no, let's stop. Helmut
Yeah.
goes with everything. Oh, Mayo, does that mean you go with everything? Wait, when's your gay kiss? What's your wife gonna say?
Well, we had it, didn't we? But we had it, didn't we, Baller?
You know, I had to tell them. Shut the fuck up. like Lion didn't tell anyone. What the fuck? What's wrong with you?
No,
I had to know on nothing.
I don't even have a passport. I wasn't meant to be there.
That was the big thing.
wasn't it supposed to be a voyeur situation? But anyway, that's enough of that. So shall we wrap things
Enough
up?
polygamy, let's go.
Enough polygamy, more retard. Yeah, it's been fun. Good night, guys. Take care. Have a good evening. Go and cry yourself to sleep like we're going to.
Yeah, bye.